Hey, good morning, guys. I'm back. I did a lot of thinking and meditating on my message yesterday about whether I was going to keep doing this, and I got so much encouragement from my friends just reaching out to me, sending me messages, calling me on the phone, saying, "Will, keep doing what you're doing, even though it's uncomfortable. Please don't stop." So here I am. Early morning. I'm gonna go work out, and I thought I'd do another video that was on my mind, and I basically the title of this message is a comfortable ignorance. Um, and so I was thinking about it because I was talking to a couple people about just my book, and I was talking to my illustrator, and she's a phenomenally talented girl. And she was just explaining that she doesn't normally read, and I'm like, okay, all right, that's cool. And then I talked to a couple other people, and they kind of admitted the same thing. And even my pastor was saying, he does posts for Bible study, and he says, um uh, there's a portion of our members that just don't read them because they don't read. And I'm like, that that is troubling to me, not just in the fact that we don't read anymore, but what that means to me is that we aren't invested in our own continued education. We don't seek to learn new math. We don't seek wisdom anymore. And the problem with that is when we stop growing and experiencing new things, we are in a dangerous place of becoming stagnant and irrelevant, you know. So, of course you guys know, I've been talking about the riots and racial healing and all that stuff for the past couple weeks. And I talked to a lot of my friends who have educated me on not to just read the headlines of news and to do your own investigation. And one of my other friends, that I was sharing stuff with, we were just talking about the media and how our society is lazy. We're spoiled. We're so used to having our information spoon fed to us that we don't do our own investigation. We don't do our own research. And that's not just in social media, that's also in church. We sit down, we listen to the pastor, and we don't check out any scriptures and we don't do any referencing on what he's saying and whether it's relevant and true. You know, I mean, if the Bible is alive and current, then it should be able to be relatable to what's happening in the current events today. But do we take that at face value, or do we actually look and study and research? And when I say that, and mind you, it's an indictment to myself because I don't do it as much as I should. But if I don't seek the truth, if I don't seek wisdom, what am I falling prey to? What am I vulnerable to? What am I gullible to? What I can't blame people who manipulate me if I'm too lazy to seek the truth, to research what they say, to check beyond face value, to beyond lip service, to make sure, okay, I just want to verify what you're saying. And if they get insulted because, okay, so like when I'm dealing with, some of my clients and the spouse comes in and they're having a little argument about whether they're clean or not, I'm like, just go get a drug test, you know? And then there's all this, they kind of freeze in this kind of deer in the headlights thing, like it's an insult. It's an insult to verify the truth. And is that the state of our society today, where we are insulted if we investigate the truth for ourselves and find out that there are some gaps in people's theories or sayings or statements? Is that an insult to us, or does that bring clarity, or has truth and clarity become the enemy? Because if I'm comfortable in my ignorance, if our society is comfortable in its ignorance, I wonder if the word for it would be denial, because we don't want to know the truth. We don't want to experience understanding and freedom, because perhaps we're comfortable with the slavery of deception. I remember, I mean, you guys know, I used to be a lot heavier than I am. And when I was working with Leslie Belmore, one of the things that I discovered was my very, very dysfunctional relationship with food. And Leslie, God bless that girl. She is a trooper. Because, part of her program is not only does she explain the truth to you about your relationship with food, but she talks to your support network. So when she starts with you, you have to identify some key people in your life that she will in turn talk to them about what you're doing and how not to sabotage. And it's funny because I do that in counseling with addictions. I talk to family members, spouses, and siblings, whoever's in your network, on how not to sabotage and how we're all part of the same plan. And even though, like my mom totally means well, you know, and the people in our life mean well, but it does absolutely no good if I mean well and I'm still doing the wrong thing. So that's where it's necessary to hear the truth of, you need a better strategy. You need a better strategy to lose weight, Will. You need a better strategy to get sober, Bob. You need a better strategy, and I'm just throwing that name out there. It's not anybody I know. Some people don't freak out. We need a better strategy. We need a better strategy to live life successfully. And we can't do that if we still stay, if we're willing to stay in our comfortable ignorance, in our denial. And the truth is difficult, it is painful, it is uncomfortable. I don't know how many of you guys watched the documentary that I talked about yesterday, The Uncomfortable Truth, but it couldn't have had a better title. And it's amazing how many of us avoid that very statement in our life, the uncomfortable truth. Because here's another truth. Freedom is uncomfortable. And I'm not just talking about freedom from racism and from the coronavirus. I'm talking about freedom in our own mind, to identify the discrepancies of who you are and who you believe you are. I have so many people that I talk to in counseling that they have such a depth of self-loathing and low self-esteem and self-worth that it blows me away, because I don't have anybody that comes to my office that isn't phenomenal. And I'm not talking potentially phenomenal. I'm talking about currently phenomenal. But they don't see it because they practice their own self-deception to see themselves as somebody else. And part of that is the miseducation of our own self-worth. So what do we do? I mean, what do we do? I mean, well, the answer is simple. You have to make a consistent, courageous effort to seek truth. So when people give me information about, like current events, like, dealing with, racism or the riots or, whatever, I will research both sides of it, and one of the things I had researched was, somebody had sent me something about the Irish slavery, and so I researched it. I was looking at, what was being posted, and then what was being posted in the Washington Times and the New York Times, and just different things to thoroughly hear both sides of it, because I want to understand. I want to understand. And that's kind of ties into what I was talking about yesterday. Do you have the compassion to seek understanding, to seek truth? Or are you comfortable with the distractions of our society? And we have a lot of them. We have a lot of distractions. We're built on distractions. We have the biggest entertainment monster beast in the world. And you saw what happened when we had our distractions stripped away from us. How many people cracked? Because when you strip away all the distractions, we're just left with the naked, uncomfortable truth. And a lot of people it broke them. And so now, as the country starts to open back up, you know, they're just opening back up. Beyond the concerns of the virus, and beyond the conspiracy theory, beyond all that, they're just like, I'm just going to open back up. Okay, all right, whatever, do what you do. But are we opening back up because we're seeking to run back to our distractions, or is it truly for the economy? Or is the economy built on distractions? I mean, look at it. I mean, what was the stimulus check for? Was it for people to save and store food and water, or was it for you to put more money into the distraction of this economy that builds a crooked system? Oh, Will, don't go there. uh, I'm telling you, man, it's difficult, and I think that's part of the problem of what's going on today. We're being hit with so much change that we we can't handle it. We can't handle it. So I've got people who are getting angry. I've got people who are getting depressed. I've got people who are getting scared. I got people that are overdosing, relapsing, run. We're scrambling because we don't know how to handle what's happening, and we don't want to hear it. We don't want it. We don't want to see it, and so we still have the choice, and it's a brutal choice right now. The choice is: do you seek clarity now, or do you continue to seek deception, denial? Do you want to go back? Remember the Matrix? I love that movie. Love that movie. And I forget the dude's name that was the traitor. Um, but he couldn't handle the reality of fighting for his freedom in out of the Matrix. And you guys remember he betrayed Neo and Morpheus and them and said, "Hey, I want to go back into the lie. I want to go back into the illusion, and I don't want to remember a thing." And it makes you wonder, with there's a battle going on right now in our country on waking up or going back to sleep. And so many people want to just go back to that sleep. They don't want to wake up. They don't want to see what's going on because it's uncomfortable and it's difficult. And I get it. I totally get it. I feel for you. I love sleep, but I can't get anything done asleep. So I'm encouraging everybody who watches these videos to come out of your comfortable ignorance. And no matter how difficult, how uncomfortable, how painful it is, seek the truth because it's out there. I feel like I'm in the X Files. The truth is out there. And here's the crazy part: it's not difficult to find. It's just uncomfortable. So I love you guys. I'm gonna talk to you guys later. It's time for me to get my sweat on and start my day. All right. Peace.